the insurance companies. Well, this is extremely interesting because we've had some whispers over a number of days that we should be paying attention to the fact that child abuse inquiries, investigations are not going ahead because of pressure from insurers. And one name that has kept cropping up is Zurich. And I tweeted out last night that we'd been told that Zurich Insurance is pushing to close down child abuse investigations. And we asked, is that true? It would appear risks are so high that it could equate to possible collapse. We just highlight that one. And the one above it, because it's to do with abuse, we said that police child abuse whistleblowers are also not receiving any proper help from Goddard. So whereas you would expect the Goddard inquiry to be ensuring that valuable witnesses of the abuse of children were being protected, well, Goddard's not helping Melanie Shaw or Mickey Summers or those other people. It's not helping police whistleblowers on the subject. And we're also hearing allegations that Theresa May is herself ramping up pressure to silence whistleblowers. So that's a pretty interesting mix, but what a fascinating question. Are the insurers working to close down child abuse? Well, a very big thank you to the person who drew our attention to this independent article going back to the 9th of June 1996. And in the article, they're talking about the abuse of children in Wales. Take these facts, probably more than 100, possibly more than 200 children were sexually abused in the children's homes of one county council. At least 12 of them, perhaps as many as 16, are now dead, some by suicide. Prominent public figures were persistently rumoured to be among the abusers, members of a paedophile ring to whom the children were supplied as sexual playthings. Well, that was the start of the story, but the bit we were really interested in is in the middle, and here it is. Remarkably, the report predicts its own suppression at the behest of Clwyd County Council insurers, Municipal Mutual, who were hostile to the inquiry from the start, fearing it might provoke a flood of compensation claims. We do not see why it is necessary to have such a wide-ranging inquiry, says one letter from the insurers. Every inquiry is a dress rehearsal for claimants and a further incentive to the bandwagon syndrome. That was another one. According to report, the insurers or their solicitors also successfully opposed plans by the inquiry team to look for other children who may be abused. And then later the insurers said, draconian as it may seem, you may have to consider with the elected members whether they wish to remove him, they're talking about the head of social services, from office if he insists on having the freedom to speak. So in this article, it clearly says that this insurance company was absolutely controlling an investigation into the abuse of children. It is in black and white, highlighted in yellow on this occasion. So let's come in for another report from that article. And here we are, because this is Mr. King, the man they wanted to get rid of. Last month, Mr. King, then chairman of Social Services Committee, told this newspaper of his fears about what had happened in children's home in his own county and beyond. He said the evidence emerging is that they were a gulag archipelago stretching across Britain, wonderful places for paedophiles, but for the children who suffered, place of unending nightmares. And the report goes on. It said that the report from the council did not get published on the 26th of March after Municipal Mutual threatened to cancel the authorities' cover if it did so. And then in comes the Gillings report. But although that was eventually levered out of the council, the paper indicates here this was the 14th investigative report into child abuse, which didn't see the light of day. So according to that newspaper, absolute fact that the insurers were putting pressure to close down the child abuse investigations. So here's the company. And I think you'll be surprised if you go to the website of Municipal, because it looks as though they had about £12.50 to build it. But nevertheless, there is some very important information there. We just decided to capture the names in case those disappeared, as sometimes happens. But let's get into the meat about what's declared on this site. And if we blow it up, we find that essentially they're in with the receivers and have been for a very long time. And who is actually helping to support them at the moment? Well, indeed, it is Zurich Insurance Company. And we just highlight that because we seem to have the connection indicated in the reports to UK column. But if you download material from the site, and this is really, I would call it receivers reports, we've got some fascinating stuff here because we've got the loss of 38.4 million for the year. This is 2015, or the beginning of end of 2014, beginning of 2015, which in combination with prior losses results in a balance sheet deficit of 114.6 million is very disappointing. It's primarily due to further worsening in the estimated costs of future, this is asbestos cancer claims, future asbestos claims and abuse claims projected by the company's advisors KPMG. So here we can see in the text that this already very rocky insurance company is panicking about future child abuse claims. Well, it goes on because this is another section, and in this one it says the employer's liability claims for the asbestos have shown a continuing worsening trend over the past few years, and there continues to be uncertainty regarding the eventual outcome. In addition, the company has experienced a significant increase in historical child abuse claims over the last year. Claims for child abuse will undoubtedly be affected by the growing public awareness following the publicity surrounding the activities of Jimmy Savile and other high-profile individuals, together with a growing number of public body and police investigations. The company anticipates claims will arise from the independent inquiry into child sexual abuse established by the Home Secretary, but the extent as yet is impossible to predict with any degree of certainty. Any significant worsening in estimated cost of claims can be covered by revising the cover levy percentage. So these boys are clearly panicking, Mike, that there's some heavy costs coming in, and we have just seen that this insurance company previously worked to shut down bona fide abuse investigations. And here we are again. The company has received assurances from third parties, in particular Zurich, that appropriate recovery plans are in existence. So these are big money people. They're very worried. Another big name we'll bring in is KPMG. And again, they mention asbestos and other claims, including the child abuse. It's down in this abuse and asbestos. Now, where this gets particularly interesting is if we jump back in time, because when did the company start to get in trouble? Well, it was early in 1990. We're talking about 1992. By 1994, they were already effectively being taken into a form of receivership when in jumped Sir John Lovell. He was elected a new company chairman. But what was his previous job? Well, he was chairman of the Association of County Councils. So it seems to me, Mike, that this man hops in. County councils...
But the county councils were responsible for running the children's homes, and therefore, surely that is a massive conflict of interest.
One would have thought so. Or you're putting yourself in a very powerful position, because not only would you have knowledge of what the county councils were up to and what their responses were, you're then working both sides of the fence with insurance companies. But if you want to know how big this problem was, well, we get a clue here. Remember, this is 1994. MMI estimates future claims could amount to around 925 million, nearly $1 billion in 1994, compared with assets of 45 million.
So I mean, this is a relatively small insurance company. Currently, the risk being held with Zurich, but Zurich must hold risk from other insurance companies in a similar situation.
Indeed. And
so Zurich really must be looking at a fairly significant problem.
I think it could bring them down, Mike.
Yes, but certainly if they're all on this kind of scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that report where it stands. However, is the evidence there to show that insurance companies have been working to silence child abuse inquiries? Absolutely. Of course, the reports coming into UK column about Nottingham as one example are that the insurers are warning Nottingham City Council off from any more payouts, and we could follow that pattern across the country.